What is something you did when you were younger that you are still facing the consequences of?
I had a bad habit of biting my nails and not washing my hands when I was about 10 years old. I got pinworms twice, and to this day whenever my ass itches I have a moment of panic.
Why must I Google every disease I encounter on the internet?
Blew my credit. Still fixing that one. Nice job, me.
I didn't tank mine, but I've dropped 100+ points because of a bill that was never sent to me that went to collections. Paid the collections because it was legit and luckily less than $1,000, but man, rebuilding my credit, it was a real spit in the face to be doing everything right and only get awarded +2 points every 2 weeks. Edit. Lots of comments about deletion. Yes, I had pay to delete terms in written form mailed to me. I paid the collection, it was removed from my credit report. Credit report went up +8 that period instead of the usual +2. Loud concerts, no earplugs.
It's a go-to for us to bring those cheap squishy earplugs for concerts now, especially hip-hop, electronic concerts with fat subs. It straight up weirdly works like an EQ where the music actually sounds better and more audible. Instruments get way more clear, and for some odd reason it is easier to hear what people around you are saying. People may look twice, but it saves your ears on top of all that.
Not taking care of my teeth and not learning how to budget, now I'm broke with F-ed teeth.
See if there is a dental school near you. They run clinics and the student doctors are literally getting in their hours to graduate, and they've already done hours and hours of clinical and simulated work before being allowed near a real patient. Usually it's free or very low cost. Edit. Your mileage may vary on this option. Lots of folks have had great luck with this. Others have had not so great experiences. Make sure that it's an accredited dental school facility. If you have something major, request a senior level or soon-to-be graduating student. You're in control of your own care, so if something doesn't seem right, then call it out.
Never admitting an injury.
I started working on a farm when I was 16, worked there for nearly 10 years. The way we sort of crouched over to pick herbs for 6 to 12 hours a day fed up my spine. I have trouble standing for more than 10 minutes now. I also now understand why my grandmother, who worked on farms for more than 50 years, pops painkillers like candy. Edit. While I appreciate the advice, a lot of y'all are recommending it won't help. The bone itself is gone, and because it's gone, it's exposed the sciatic nerve, which is apparently a vindictive little bitch, because if I twist wrong or bend over too far it gets hit, pinched, compressed and just f's up my day. According to several different doctors I have 3 solutions. Just deal with it, dope myself up on painkillers, or have the problem vertebrae fused together, which won't actually eliminate the pain, just lessen it. Oh, and I'd have to learn how to walk again, so no thank you.
Buy a pull-up bar and just hang on it shoulder width apart, let gravity pull your body and stretch your spine. Do like 3 to 5 sets of 30 seconds hanging, or however much you can tolerate. Do this in the morning and before bed. I know it sounds like a stretch, but I had pretty gnarly scoliosis and my old Chinese chiropractor put me on this regiment. I went to a doctor a few years later, and when I asked how my scoliosis was looking, he literally said there was none, it looked normal. Edit. Damn, this blew up overnight. Thank you for all the awards. I genuinely hope this helps a lot of you, because it saved me a lot of money and helped my body a ton. I've received a few messages from some of you and want to add on to my comment. It'll be hard in the beginning for a lot of you. I had to build up strength in my shoulders and hands to be able to hang my entire body weight relaxed for 30 seconds. Work your way up from 5 to 10 seconds and keep adding the seconds on. It's a lot tougher than it looks, and I consider myself pretty athletic. The biggest nugget I can give is consistency and discipline. If you half-ass the sessions because your arms are tired, or you skip days because you don't feel like it, you won't see results. 2 times a day every day. I'm getting hyped myself now, let's go.
Dental hygiene.
Yep. Regretting it big time now.
Flew off a water slide while goofing off. Landed on concrete. Left hip still hurts to sleep on 20-ish years later. It took at least 10 years before I told my mom what happened.
When I was about 11 or 12 I had a cold, and as a child I'd had otitis a few times. It was winter and I was outside without anything covering my head and ears. My mum told me to put something on, otherwise I would get otitis again. I didn't. That night I woke up with unbelievable pain in my left ear. I was awake all night, Crying from the pain, tried to sneak out of bed to find painkillers, but whatever it was that I found, it did not help. Eventually the pain went away, but so did parts of my hearing. Never told my mum about it. Still have hearing loss on my left ear.
Listening to my music on full blast. I'm 23 and I've lost nearly 40% of my total hearing.
I've lost a good bit of hearing because of frequent eardrum rupturing. Never really figured out the cause beside pressure buildup.
Not having a good posture.
Wow, some of these comments are LLY telling me to take care of myself. Study, brush my teeth more, fix my posture, or I'm gonna regret it. Woozy face.
Gaining weight. I'm getting older and it's harder now to lose it, and my joints will be effed if I don't. I sprained my ankle on a treadmill when I was 13 and I was too stubborn to let it heal properly. So now, nearly 15 years later, I can't walk until like 10 in the morning a couple times a month because my ankle is still a wee bit effed.
I broke my ankle and stretched the tendons badly skateboarding when I was 16. My dad told me to deal with it and didn't take me to any hospital or doctor to check it out. I kept it wrapped and followed protocol I found on the internet. As an adult, I now have terrible pains in my ankle whenever I'm walking too much or working too hard. Got it looked at around 27 and I have a piece of my ankle bone missing. Probably could have used that medical attention, Dad.
I was working 40 hours a week while still in high school. After 6 months of non-stop work, I fell asleep behind the wheel and I lost my leg.
Where in the hell were your parents during all that?
I listen to music way too effing loudly. I'm 37 and I absolutely need hearing aids. I'm not deaf, but if there is even slight background noise, everything sounds incredibly muffled. Sometimes I have to ask people to repeat themselves 3 to 4 times. Edit, I never got tinnitus, there were no blaring signs of hearing loss that I noticed, it was extremely gradual. Turn your poo down, bitches. Wear earplugs.
Turning down my music right now.
Smoking. Not making it a point to work on my social skills. I was a bit of a loner in school, really shy. Now I struggle to make conversation with coworkers without feeling immense levels of anxiety. Worry that without this skill I'll never really get ahead.
Don't worry, social anxiety is something that can be beat, you just have to keep trying and not beat yourself up when you mess up. Success in work and life is nothing but a construct of the mind. As easy as it is to fall into this mindset of needing to be successful as early as possible, it's not a race. Everyone's circumstances are different. I had a treehouse that was about 10 feet off the ground and I would regularly jump out of it. Being an idiot, I wouldn't brace myself when I landed because I thought I looked cooler doing it that way. Just straight up land on my feet without so much as bending my knees. Well, guess who's got poo knees before they've hit 30? Edit, obligatory. Of course my highest comment is me being a dumbass 8-year-old and thanks for the award, stranger.
PSA for anyone who doesn't know how to land safely from heights: bend your knees when you hit the ground so you go into a crouched golem position, suck the floor with both hands, takes some of the force away. If you have forward momentum you need to deal with, tuck your head and roll diagonally over one shoulder, throw one hand under the opposite armpit to get the right angle. Source: former parkour nerd.
Chose a low-pay, high-stress career.
Former chef here. Don't be a chef.
Not stand up for myself enough. Catching up and learning it as an adult is embarrassing at times.
This. I was a shy, awkward girl that willingly accepted whatever happened. Unfortunately my parents didn't help as they would always bagger my sister for speaking up, which caused me to hide even further into my shell. You never realize how much can be taken away from you or taken advantage of you until you hit your ultimate limit. It's a price that can last for years.
Overeat and eat poorly. Please teach and demonstrate nutrition and exercise to your kids. It is so effing hard to defeat a lifetime of bad habits when you're in your adulthood and already feeling the effects of ill health from years of bad eating habits. And no, I don't just mean force them to eat their veggies and thus just create a totally negative relationship with healthy food. You have to find ways to make their importance clear and introduce new ways of eating healthy. Don't just feed a kid whatever they want whenever they want. I see that so much and the end result is not good.
To add to this, don't make your kid eat more than they want to. As long as they are eating nutritious stuff, Don't force them to finish their plate. I grew up somewhat poor, so if we ever went out to eat, I'd get in so much trouble if I didn't eat everything I ordered. We paid for all this food, now we have to eat it, or next time you have to split a meal with your brother. Stuff like that. So I've grown up with some weird positive feedback loop of overeating. I get a good dopamine bump from eating myself too full, and then continuing. It's hard to maintain a healthy weight. A constant battle. It really wasn't until I was an adult when I started taking a doggy bag home from restaurants. My wife opened my eyes to that. Yeah, we paid for it, and we're gonna eat it, but later. We don't need to cram it down right now.
Not getting enough work experience for my degree.
I feel this one.
Ran my credit into the ground because I was so sure I was going to kill myself by the time I was 22, so why not?
Same. Also did not care about my health at all for the same reasons, and facing the consequences now.
Let others' opinion matter over my own. It created havoc with my self-esteem and created anxiety. Whatever I achieved, it seemed it was because I was lucky. Now I don't know who I am and what I could have been.
I highly recommend the book The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. It talks about all of the elements that comprise our self-esteem in a way that I've never read anywhere else. It gives practical advice in each chapter about how to develop that particular pillar. I'm so thankful that I found it. Free PDF link.
Not telling the truth of why I was depressed and how depressed I was.
My dad walked in and asked if I had been okay recently cause I have a past with depression not 5 minutes ago, and I said I was fine lol.
Not fully learning English until now. It's pretty hard ATM.
You're doing good, mate. Don't give up. Edit. You're doing well. Overspending. Got a credit card as soon as I turned 18. It had a limit of £5,000 and I was not financially responsible. Cut a long story short, more credit cards, horrible cycle of debt, had to dig myself out of it. I got out of debt at 32, lived paycheck to paycheck for a while. I'm 37 now and this year is first year of my life I have savings. If anyone out there has crippling debt, don't feel hopeless, there's always a way out, even if it takes years. You can do it.
This is where I am at the moment. It's good to hear there's hope. I've actually ended up getting my dad to lock my credit card in his safe so I can't access it.
Gave my legs for a stranger's life during a 16 car pileup. 8 years and 17 surgeries later, I can kinda walk again. My life is in complete shambles, I've gained 100 pounds, and I lost my career, a really effing good one. Edit. Lots of questions for the story, here it is. We were car number 3 of 16, saw car 2 spinning before we got rear-ended. Saw car 2's driver ejected, he landed in the open road. When we crashed I jumped out, got to the body, and moved him. The car that would have ground him into paste ended up hitting me going about 55 miles per hour. I was airborne for about 38 feet before landing on another car. 38 non-union breaks, over 100 fractures, lost my left thumb, and my right anterior tibialis. I also tore all 4 rotator cuff muscles in my right shoulder. Was 2 years before they fixed the shoulder because the legs were really bad. Both of my femur and tibia have or had titanium rods in them that run the entire length of the bone. I've had 2 external fixators, remember Gattaca, on my left leg, one for 9 months, one for 6. I still can't run or jump at all, and I live in perpetual pain. Because I had so many surgeries, I also developed a dependence on opioids. The constipation was so bad that I needed another surgery on my asshole, to put it back together.
Jesus, that stranger, do they know?
Never met them.
Had a D problem, got clean at 21, roughly 10 years ago. Looking to get a government engineering job, but the government has different ideas on it. It seems unlikely I will be able to get a security clearance. I don't want to complain though because I know plenty of other people who still have their D problems. I know I'm just lucky to have been able to get on with my life. Anyway kids, I suggest going to therapy instead of doing DG.
Sorry to say it but, tattoo regret. I hate them every time I see them. After finishing college, I stopped playing sports. I've always been a bit on the stockier side, but through high school and college I was very active in several team sports, soccer, volleyball, floor hockey, so I had a lot of muscle on me too. I didn't do any kind of exercise, beyond just moving around for work plus walking my dog twice a day, for 12 long years. I grew fat, unhealthy, and in poor shape. I've been trying to work on that, but even when I could go to the gym I would be exhausted after 30 minutes of light exercise. I have hopes that I can at least be healthy, as I work to build up my endurance and tolerance for longer workouts, but I doubt I'll ever be in the shape I was when I was in my teens, early 20s. And it's entirely my fault too. I got lazy and I'll be paying for it for the rest of my life. Edit. Thank you for all of the encouraging words. It's especially helpful to hear that I'm not the only one going through this same problem, and that others have come out on the other side of it. My first goal is to get down to 250. Then I'm going to do 25-pound goals after that until I at least get to my college weight, 175, and see where to go from there. I am working with a doctor on diet and such, it just feels like so much because I've let it go for so long.
I become super unhealthy after a broken leg turned into 3 years of not moving from my bed. One step at a time, I've come to terms with never being able to go 100% but am still shooting for that 99% use. I'd like a day without my foot creaking like Rice Krispie cereal in milk.
DG.
Well, username checks out at least.
I got into the car of a couple that saw me walking home from school and offered me a ride home. Instead of driving me home, they took me to their house where they beat me for putting up a fight when they were about to assault me and RPD me. I'm still struggling alone mentally and don't trust anybody. Edit. For those who want to know the whole story of what happened, I posted my story on the RP Counseling subreddit. It is the first post I made on this account. I appreciate the kind words and support. Thank you.
I was sexually assaulted as a child and living with PTSD for just about 20 years before I started the process of healing. It is not too late. The world is catching up to the complexities of trauma. I'd be glad to share some very modest guidance with you if you'd welcome that. If so, you can DM me. The nervous system can learn and unlearn.
From age approximately 16 to age 23 or so, I was on the Depo-Provera shot for birth control. None of my doctors ever brought up that I should only be on it for a few years at a time because of some side effects like bone loss. I have broken bones, in shockingly dumb ways, that are then leading to what I suspect will be lifelong issues. I had surgery on my wrist after fracturing it in late 2019 and experience pretty frequent pain when I move my wrist or hand just slightly wrong.
Internet addiction.
Me browsing Reddit in the shower. This does not apply to me.
I suppose this is something I technically didn't do, but I never picked a career path, so now I've got a CV the length of my arm from various jobs and education that span over 3 countries, 18 years and with little to no recent experience, due to taking care of my son and helping my ex-husband through education for his career path. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
So you're supremely adaptable and handle change really well? Sounds like positive personality traits to me.
This made me smile. From the depths of my heart, thank you.
Student loans.
I hear you on that one. I was dumb and I didn't forget about them, I just didn't pay them. I had every intention of going back to college after getting my associates to get my bachelor's, deferring payments, but I just never did. It's when they started garnishing my wages that I got my act together. I was able to get a personal loan to cover the remaining amount of my student loans and I consolidated my debt.
When my parents separated while I was in high school, I moved out. I was 14, my sister was 15, and my brother was 12. DG, fighting, etc. I couldn't handle it anymore, but my siblings never moved out. A few years later, Mom's back, everyone's at home, it's a happy family with no room for me. Edit. Thanks for being so kind. I'm 19 now, I moved in with my grandparents, and I still live with them. Concerning that no room for me, I literally mean no room for me lol. They live in a trailer and there's no space, but I visit every week.
This sounds more like you're facing the consequences of your parents' actions. No way should a 14-year-old feel the need to move out of their home to find a peaceful living situation. Sending you a hug. Make good friend choices and make them your family.
Spent way too much time alone as a kid playing video games instead of socializing with friends. My social skills were stunted for many years, which made things much harder than they needed to be.
Felt kinda like a cycle for me. No one wanted to hang out with me, so I'd spend all my time watching movies instead, which made my social skills worse, which made people not want to hang out with me.
Bad grades because of laziness.
I never studied. I didn't need to from elementary to high school. It was pretty easy for me, so I never studied. Now, I'm in college, and I am facing the consequences of that. I have no idea how to study effectively, and it's reflecting in my test scores. Edit. Thanks so much for all the advice, everyone. I'll take it all to heart.
This link.
Being super picky as a kid and still having to break the habit of avoiding certain foods because I don't like them, but honestly haven't even tried them. Edit. Nobody asked, but it wasn't until I was 16 that I tried a grilled cheese.
Accidentally touching a girl's bum when I was 16. Her boyfriend decided to headbutt me for it, leading to breaking my nose. I am 36 now and am still suffering on a daily basis of the messed up pipework up there. My nose holes * are closed up still. * that's probably not the right word.
You're looking for nostrils.
Starved myself since I was about 12 because I wanted to be super thin, which absolutely destroyed my metabolism. Ironic.
Arrested for WD possession in 1996. Denied entry to Canada in 2018. Edit. Just woke up to a lot of replies. Thanks for taking an interest in the solidarity. If you don't mind, I'll share the story a little. I'm a UK citizen and was arrested and convicted in the UK for possession of about half an eighth in 1996. That's less than 2 grams. 2-year suspended sentence as a minor. In 2001 I was taking a road trip around the western US. Actually I was in Backwater, California when 9/11 happened. The problem was that at that time, and others between 2001 and 2009, I did not check the yes box on the landing card that said, "Have you ever been committed of a crime of moral turpitude?" I had no idea what moral turpitude was. As an aside, I'd like to add that I don't think the federal government really knows either. Look it up and tell me if you can find an actual federal definition that isn't incredibly vague. Several trips to the US transpire between 2001 and 2009 for various reasons. In 2009, I immigrate with my American wife and son to the US. At this time, the checks are a lot more thorough and I have a lot more on the line, so I at some point say, yes, I maybe should have checked that box, I'd like to talk about it, be an upstanding immigrant, husband and father. This caused a lot of hassle. My immigration experience then took about 18 months because of all the hoops I had to jump through. This was when it should have taken 4 months. There was even an interview with an expensive Harley Street doctor, where I was told lectured of the dangers of being a few pounds overweight while immigrating to Texas, and how my abuse, the federal government always says abuse, never use, as evidenced by a less than 2 grams conviction of possession, was something very, very serious. Eventually I made it into the US and it's been great. Apart from the Trump years, my opinion, perhaps not yours, don't make a big deal about it. My experience has been that Americans are mostly kind and welcoming people. As it turned out, the immigration problems were not so much that I had the conviction, but that I had at some point lied on an immigration form, though inadvertently. So, I resolved to always be forthright in all travel and not try to hide anything, given that it can cause hassle later. In the years between 2009 and 2018, I've traveled to lots of countries without hassle. I'm so lucky my UK passport allows me to travel freely all over Europe. Oh, wait. Australia also asked me the "Have you ever been convicted?" question. I told the truth. They gave me permission to enter and the immigration officer was one of the nicest I've ever met. Just a few relaxed questions. Australians are awesome. Then it comes time to go to Canada. I figure, hey, I have a UK passport. The Commonwealth is a thing, right? I don't need to do anything special. I was wrong. As a UK citizen, I needed an ETA. The ETA included a question about whether I have ever been committed of a crime. Minor. Doesn't matter. Expunged? Doesn't matter. So, I told the truth. The ETA was denied. I missed the important leadership meeting and pissed off my boss and suffered awkward questions from other senior leaders in the business. So that's it, and thanks for letting me share. The TLDR is the bit before the edit.
Yeah, I'm never going to Canada. I was 17 and arrested for WD and they charged me as an adult, so I can't expunge it.
Got into DG and alcohol too young. I believe it gave me all my mental issues and stunted my development. I think this is super common, even with just WD, but people are still in denial.
Got pregnant at 15. Had to drop out of school, got my GED, and focused on my kid. Almost 8 years later, I moved out of my parents' house and last month I married the love of my life. It's nice to finally be a parent without someone trying to parent me at the same time. Working on my second college degree now, and I have a job that I absolutely love, and life is getting better. I'll be 34 when she turns 18. My life will never be what I envisioned, but it's totally worth it. But holy poo has it been rough, only starting to get better the last few years. Use condoms, kids.
I asked my mother if I could get tested for ADHD as I had looked up the symptoms and noticed that I checked a lot of the boxes. She said, "Ha ha ha honey, you don't have that," and I was like, she is probably right, and I never brought it up again. If I had pushed a little harder and explained the symptoms I had, maybe I wouldn't be suffering the consequences of going through high school with 2 UN-diagnosed learning disabilities, which have led to anxiety, depression, and a general, non-wavering feeling of existential worthlessness. Smiley face.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.